Hi, this is Taipan for Shanzai.com, and today we're looking at the Herotab A816, another 4:3 aspect ratio, 8:600 resolution tablet, 8-inch screen size. Before we get into the review though, I wanted to just cover a couple of things. We had some comments interesting from people saying that, oh, you seem to like all the tablets. And one of the things I wanted to say is, when you watch the video, we try to show you a lot of the stuff on the video itself so you can actually see for yourself. The written part of the story that we do on the actual website is worth taking a look at, not just watching the video. We've got a list of pros and cons for every product there, and definitely the cons that we have listed there are real cons, so pay attention to them. They really mean something also. So don't get too excited about it when you see a nice new device. And also the other thing is, in our actual website, we're kind of able to keep up with the comments and things that are going on there. We're not quite as active here on YouTube in the comment stream as we'd like to be. You guys seem to be having good conversations and we like that. But if you want to talk to people from Shanzai.com, you're probably more likely to get a response if you do it on the website. But that being said, let's get it out of the way and take a look at the Herotab. Herotab's a little bit different than some of the smaller tablets that we've been looking at, in the sense that it's a 8-inch instead of a 7-inch screen size. 7-inch is still the dominant size of screen we've been seeing for tablets. The other thing about the device is that it doesn't try really too hard to look like the Apple iPad. In fact, it's kind of gone the other way, like with the new Chrome notebook, OS notebook design. It's got a rubberized black plastic finish on the device, which I love. I've actually kind of gone on record and said that I love it when the Chrome netbook came out, and I do like it here on the tablet as well, just because it's such a different way of hiding the fingerprints, but still giving a nice black look and feel to the product, which is a bit masculine, which I like. But it also feels like slightly more ruggedized. If we get a little bit closer in on the device, we can take a look at some of the I/O, and it's all pretty much the typical stuff you're expecting to have: your power supply, your headphone jack. Here I've got an SD card filling the SD card slot. There is an HDMI out connection, although there is no HDMI cable included in the box, so you make sure you're going to have to get your hands on one of those. There is a mini USB connection and a regular USB connection, so it's nice to see both of those options available. What's a little bit harder to see, with slightly recessed there, is a slider button that controls the media or ringtone ringer volume on the device. So that's kind of a physical switch for that, which is kind of a nice little addition. Coming around the other edges, you can see, instead of actually having a curved outside edge, the device has got a slightly beveled inside device. Almost looks like it's got little rails around the outside of the device. I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but we'll let you to check that out more closely. That's really it for the I/O, as there is only the I/O on the one side of the device. On the back of the device, you can see there's one little hole here with a little bit of a screen to going with it to actually get out some speaker noise. And there's tiny little rubberized feet there for when you've got it laying down flat on the table. And they've got the screws accessible there again for you hardware nuts who might want to like attack this thing with a screwdriver. Flipping it around to the front side of the screen, again it mentions 8:600 resolution, 4:3 aspect ratio. Up on the top left hand side, we've got the web camera, and it's also got a little indicator light underneath that. When you've got the device plugged in, it'll let you know, there's a little red light that'll let you know that it's powering up, and when it reaches its full charge it'll turn green. So that's kind of a nice little indicator touch for you there. And then there's the typical three Android buttons that we'll always see, which is the home, back, and menu button. The back button, interestingly, being the middle button. So if you're used to that being the home from your use of an iPad or something like that, it's not the case. In this case, it's back. This button's home, and this button up here is the menu button. Before I dive into the actual performance on the Herotab itself, I forgot to show you the box. It's pretty much the standard issue that you're seeing around for all the Shanzai tablets. Semi-Android looking like, with a little bit of iPad-like design on the outside. Inside is the insert, which actually holds the tablet itself. Boom. Tablet insert. Yay. And then inside of that, we've got a USB cable for you, a couple of other USB in-out options, adding female and male ends onto it, and then of course your power supply. So that's pretty much standard that what you're getting these days. There is no headphones and there is no HDMI connection though. So the Herotab A816 has also got a resistive touchscreen. One of the interesting things we've kind of found is it seems like there's a little bit of almost crossover between the, you could almost say high-end resistive and low-end capacitive. Some of the capacitive screens we've played around with haven't seemed as responsive as we thought, and some of the particular screens that we played with in the resistive seem really responsive, and that would be the case with the Herotab here. Give you a little bit of an example of, here's me kind of fooling around. The screen's very responsive. Slow it down a little bit for you. Everything kind of happens nicely. Transitions back and forth between the different screens. Smooth and beautiful. One of the exciting things about the Herotab 816 is that it's got a Samsung ARM processor, Cortex A8 1.2 GHz processor inside. So we're expecting big things in terms of performance for the device. And I think probably the best way we can check that out right off the bat is to go straight into the video performance. Well, we find our test videos. I should mention that the cameraman and I have made a concerted promise to each other that we will bring you different video test content for 2011 in the new year. But for now, today, you're going to have to suffer still through our Booth Babe video demos. Now, the first one we've got to bring up here is the 1080p WMV version of the video. And as you can see here, it's actually powering through that video 1080p, no problems whatsoever. It's smooth playback, it's really nice, but there is no audio, so probably needs a little tweak on the driver update side from the Herotab people, because the playback looks fine, but we're not getting any audio. Let's go out of that one and let's try something 1080p MP4 and see if that makes any difference. Okay, we're getting 1080p MP4 performance. Is a little, not as smooth as the WMV performance, but we are getting the audio. So I guess that's a little bit disappointing from that side. Most of the time we have found a lot of these devices can't quite get out the 1080p performance, honestly. The only thing I think we've seen that did have that was a Tegra based device. So pretty much that way performance is on par. But I think you'll find as soon as we get down to 720p, you're looking at basically smooth video playback, good audio, all the performance you're expecting in your device. So this is, in the sense of video performance, it is quite good. It probably just still needs a little bit more tweaks to the actual Samsung processor to be as good as they expect it to be to include the 1080p format. As I say, 480, 720p video for performance is all fine. One of the places where the Samsung processor really does excel, though, is on browsing, and we've loaded two browsers here that you can check out the experience with. We've got Opera Mobile on the device, and we've also got the standard stock browser that comes with it. And of course, before we get into our browsing experience, we should show you that the accelerometer works slickety-boo. You can move the device around, and it will immediately pop into the, looks like, oops, it is maybe only 180 degrees of motion for the accelerometer, but it is fast and responsive. One of the nice things also is it seems that Opera's updated their mini browser to fit the tablet form factor. Some of the earlier versions that we were looking at of the Opera browser didn't include a wide enough screen and didn't actually fit. They were all kind of scaled down for just the telephone size. So it's nice to see that Opera's moved up into the tablet space. So one of the things that we don't normally show is too much productivity uses on the tablets, but with the nice processor in there and the great screen on this particular device, we thought we'd open up a PowerPoint presentation for you, especially since this device that we got on the demo unit included documents to go. So here's our Shanzai.com demo PowerPoint presentation. We made the presentation, I should say, on a PC just as a little tester, and it's just a 3-page presentation, but it does show that the text formatting, basically the image positioning, fonts, and graphics usage that we've done has come across and translated to the Android device perfectly fine. I'm not sure you'd want to be making PowerPoint presentations on your tablet, but if you're giving them and you're doing sales work or something and you want to do a quick presentation for someone on the fly or pulling out your mobile device, this might be a great way to do it. So one of the things that's also interesting about this product while we reviewed it is that it's actually got a small 2600 milliamp hour battery inside of the device. However, the Samsung processor is supposed to be designed for extra performance gains in terms of the low power draw, and we are seeing that actually. The device is not drawing as much power for as long as we played with it with other devices, so it is seen to be a little bit more efficient. So while the battery is not as big as some of the other products who've got crammed into it, we would have liked to have seen a bigger battery inside the device, it is performing very efficiently. So I think we're expecting to see a little bit more than the 3 hours you can typically find on a lot of the Shanzai tablets. The Herotab A816 is also a very good ebook reader. They've actually installed on the device, the demo unit that we've got, an iReader and the Adalco that we typically use to show some of the different devices. Here's our lovely looking bookshelf. You know that I'm particularly fond of my H.G. Wells demo content that they include there. Let's give that a look. Welcome. Let's dismiss some of those little tabs. I've already been in here and been reading through this. You'll have to catch me mid-read. But of course, tapping your way from page to page as you zip along through the book. This is very simple, quick transitions. Ready when you are. So one of the things that we like also about the Herotab is that it does include a front-facing camera. In this case, it's advertised as a 2 megapixel camera, and I have to say it actually does provide a better picture than a lot of the cameras that we've looked at, so maybe that extra megapixel makes a difference. Typically we see 1.3, but this one says 2 megapixels. It definitely seems to handle the lighting better. You can see things a lot clearer, and it's not quite as dark as most of the tablet web cameras that we've seen before. Some final thoughts on the Herotab A816. Personally, I'm quite fond of the device. I really love the look and feel of the device. I've said it, gone on record before, saying I'm a big fan of the 4:3 aspect ratio and the 8-inch screen size. So I guess that's a consideration you're going to have to take into yourself, depending on your preferences there. The performance of the device is pretty solid, and it's got some really nice strong aspects to it. A little bit disappointed that it didn't quite crank out the 1080p performance that we were hoping for, but I think again that's probably just a minor tweak on the Herotab people's part, so we'll have to see if they've got some updates coming for that. Pretty much for the price tag, the device goes for around $230 in that range. I think when you're getting that level of performance in that kind of form factor and that kind of a solid implementation of the device, you're probably looking at really good value. Right now we're seeing, the only thing we're seeing that's even comparable to that coming out from some of the more mainstream brands are in the $400 to $500 range. And then again, if you go to the premium Apple tablet world, you're going even higher than that. So I think for, in terms of performance versus price, again, this is probably a really great value, especially to fans of the 8-inch 4:3 form factor.